Hello everyone. It's been just over a week since I unboxed the Bon Jovi Forever book on my channel. I finally finished reading through it, so now I can give my full thoughts in the form of a review. Now, this book is really thorough, and I don't want to cram everything into one video. In this video, I'll just be doing a review. What is it? What makes it so great? Everything that you need to know if you're thinking about purchasing it. But in a future video, I'm very excited and very keen to actually go through the content of the book, John's narration, any new stuff that we weren't maybe aware of that has been revealed. Quick recap for those of you that haven't seen the unboxing video, which I recommend. It came in this giant shipping box, very sturdy. The book itself comes in a clamshell box, which is inscribed with Bon Jovi Forever in this gorgeous silver emblem. For those of you wondering what sets it apart from the standard edition, it's large in part the presentation of the book itself. The standard edition obviously doesn't have the box or the fabric bag or anything like that, but the limited edition and the deluxe versions also have what I believe they call artifacts or replicas. They come inside this cardboard folder. I'm not going to spend too long showing these because I did go through them in the unboxing video, but yes, all of these badges and stickers and all of that is only in the limited edition and the deluxe versions. Along with the replicas, there's also this 7-inch vinyl, which features a demo of Runaway, from John's bedroom, I think, and the Bad Medicine 2024 remix. The only other differences that I can really think of is the cover and the binding itself. The limited edition covers are the iconic Forever jacket, and it's bound with leather, or faux leather, I presume. The standard cover is the image that's on the inside of the clamshell box, which is a very cool collage, and it makes a fantastic cover. But yes, they are different. And I think one of the main or most important differences is the fact that it's obviously signed and numbered. I'm number 496 of what I believe is 1,500, and here's John's autograph once again. I've always loved his signature, it's so fluid, but it's very neat. So yes, those are all of the differences that I can think of between the standard and the deluxe. Okay, so the limited editions are all sold out, so realistically there's no point in me even comparing the value or anything like that, unless you're planning on buying it secondhand on eBay for a small fortune. However, I might as well give my thoughts, because I did have one guy in the comment section of my previous video go on a huge rant about the expense of the book. For the casual fan, I would say that the standard edition is already all you could ever want. All of the contents of the book are the exact same to my knowledge, and it's a perfect anthology of Bon Jovi's career. The limited edition is really not for the casual fan in any way, shape or form. The average casual Bon Jovi fan is not going to spend £250 to £500 on a book, and there is really no need. This is a limited run. There's only 1,500 copies of the limited and 350 of the deluxe. So this is not for a casual fan. It's not even for a wide audience. It's for a hardcore Bon Jovi collector. So do I think it's worth it for those collectors? Absolutely, it's a piece of art. It's handcrafted, it's hand-bound, it's hand-curated, hand-signed. This is a luxury item that you're not going to get cheap, and it shouldn't be cheap because it's completely handmade. You're paying for the amount of work that has gone into the books, which is a lot. I don't know if it's apparent from my channel, but I'm a pretty hardcore Bon Jovi fan, and I knew as soon as this was announced that I had to get the limited edition. I had to. I'm a collector. I collect a lot of stuff. I have a lot of Bon Jovi stuff, and I really wanted this, And that's who this edition is for. It's for the very top percentile of Bon Jovi fans and collectors. The standard is more than adequate for the masses of Bon Jovi fans. Okay, so let's talk about the book itself. It exceeded all of my expectations, and I was so excited for this book to arrive. I have thought about it every day. I had checked my email every day, every morning, for the past God knows how long, just hoping for a shipping notification. Because I knew it was going to be brilliant, and I expected so much from a company that has the reputation of Genesis Publications, and from all the small snippets that we got to see. I already knew it was going to be incredible, but I did not think that it was going to be, or was possible, to be this great. Not by a long shot, and again that's saying a lot, because I had the highest of high expectations for it. But I was blown away. So what is it that actually makes it so great? Well, for starters, I think John's narration is obviously a huge part of it. Genesis interviewed Bon Jovi, or John, during the making of this book so that he could tell the story of the band. And what surprised me was that this wasn't your typical John Bon Jovi anecdote the whole way through. John tends to retell the same stories in interviews quite often, which I don't really blame him for. But I truly believed that the narration would probably be that, stuff that we're used to hearing but formatted and arranged chronologically like a narrative. But I was wrong. Yes, of course, as a diehard fan, I know most of the stuff in here. You know, I know the whole story of the band, the albums, the performances, and so on. But there were a lot of stories and anecdotes that we've actually never heard before. And there are some really lovely ones at that, which I was, smiling at the whole time. And I'll get more into those in the next video. This narration, this story of Bon Jovi told through the eyes of John, is actually incredible to read, and you're not going to find it anywhere else. John has already said that he doesn't plan on writing a biography. So unless he changes his mind, which I highly doubt, this is really it. And in fairness, with a book like this, we don't need anything else. As nice as it would be to have a biography, this is the biography. I mean, again, I'm a diehard and I was finding stuff that we didn't know already, which I really was not expecting. And even the stuff that we have heard like 1,000 times, it was written in a way that was really engaging and you could honestly hear John's voice in your head. So if I'm sitting there fully enthralled, even as a diehard that already knows half of this stuff, I can't stress enough how great this would be for the casual fan, or for a fan that's, wanting to get into Bon Jovi but doesn't really know where to begin. This is literally perfect. I can't recommend it enough. So the narration is one of the things that made it so great and engaging to me. Obviously, a large chunk of this book is pictures, and let me tell you, these pictures are stunning. There are a few different types of pictures. First of all, there's the big, classic, double spread photo pages. These are gorgeous, especially the one in the front with the sunset. I can't stop looking at that. It's really stunning. I mentioned it last video. But we've also got pictures of outfits, pictures of clothing, I think mostly taken from John's cellar, or basement, as they say. Oh, and also the rock hall. There's photos of memorabilia, posters, artifacts, passes, etc. And then you've got all the documents and the production and the lyric sheets and everything, and notebook scribblings. John's kept all of his writing notebooks through the year, so there's quite an abundance of lyric sheets, handwritten lyrics. I really like looking at those because you can kind of see the progression or the evolution of the song. All of the scribbles, all of the old lyrics before they were changed, chord progressions working out. Honestly, yeah, there's a photo in here for everything actually. There are quite a few never before seen ones. Which again is nice as a diehard that's seen practically everything. It's like, oh, wow, that's new. I wasn't expecting that. And again, I can't really stress enough the sheer excitement that I've experienced just looking through and reading this book. I mean, I'm sure it was evident during the unboxing, I was talking very fast. It was very unscripted, I was just like, but I've been having the time of my life sitting through this with a bowl of grapes and just reading through this giant book. The bowl of grapes was very important. I was just looking through all of the pictures, making sure I didn't miss anything, reading through all of the narration. It was so fun. I was so excited. I was having the time of my life. I know it sounds really silly, but by the time I got to the last page, I felt quite emotional. I'd enjoyed reading through it so much and looking through it, and, I enjoyed it so thoroughly that I was really sad that I'd finished it. It's not really the type of book that you truly finish. You go through it whenever you like, you look at it. It's not like a novel. I mean, this is the Bon Jovi Bible. I'll be referencing it probably quite often. But yeah, I was sad to have finished reading it. It was quite like, when you finish a TV show that you've become sentimentally attached to, and you're like, oh no, what am I going to watch now? That's what I felt like. I felt really sad. John's final lines in the book were so poetic as well. It felt like I'd just been on this big journey with Bon Jovi all over again. So at this point in a review, I would usually list anything that I think could be improved. But I'm genuinely serious. I have no critiques for this book. Not one. I can't think of anything. I can't even be nitpicky, which I'm usually pretty good at. There is literally nothing from the bottom of my heart that I would change, other than perhaps making it somehow longer, which I don't think is possible. If you're a Bon Jovi fan, and you have not already, I implore you to pick up a standard copy. You will love it, I guarantee. I really can't wait to go through some of the details in another video. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'm very curious to know your thoughts. Thank you again to Genesis Publications for making the book. It's wonderful. Actually, they saw my unboxing video and they commented, and that was really sweet. So yes, thank you for watching, and keep an eye out for my next video.